Hello yogis, Kathy here. Welcome to Yoga by Kathy. Today's class is a 50-minute flow for beginners. So if you're brand new to yoga or just getting back into it, or you're looking for something that is very gentle, that's going to be easy on the body, this is the class for you. So I'm going to guide you through a series of postures that you can do anytime during the day, maybe in the morning, in the afternoon, while you're taking a work break, or right before going to bed. So these are very approachable postures, and as always, I'm going to suggest the use of a few props for beginner classes. So having a block and a strap at your disposal. Don't worry if you don't have these. I'll link some different options in the description box below where you can get some ideas for alternatives that you can use. When you're ready, let's get started. We'll meet you on the mat. So we're going to begin to make our way into a table position. So walking forward on hands and knees. Our hips are going to stay stacked over the knees. Shoulder, elbows, wrists will stay aligned. Now if your knees are a little bit sensitive, go ahead and roll up your mat or place some blankets underneath the knee joints. Make it more comfortable for you. Same with the hands. If you need a bit more wrist support, you can roll up your mat or place some extra cushioning under those joints. So let's get started with some movement through the spine. We'll begin to move through a series of cat and cow pose. So on the inhale, we're going to allow our bellies to soften, dropping the belly towards the floor. At the same time, pressing down into your hands, keeping your arms locked if you can. You can bring a gentle bend to the elbows. Slowly start to lift up through the heart, lift up through the head. Exhale, taking it the opposite way, tailbone starts to tuck under, chin towards the chest. Pressing the hands down into the floor, gaze will come back towards the belly button. Inhale, dropping the belly, lift the heart, lift the gaze. See if you can slowly straighten out those elbows. Allow the tailbone to lift and point upwards. Into cow pose. Exhale, chin to chest. Continue to press down into your hands, rounding through the spine. Find that nice dome shape through the back. Chin to chest, tailbone tucks under, cat pose. So we're going to move a little bit faster now, keeping your arms and legs steady, isolating the movement in the spine. Inhale, dropping the belly, lift the heart. Exhale, we press down into the floor, chin to chest. Inhale, looking forwards and up, breathing in through the heart. Exhale, chin to chest, spine starts to round. We're going to connect this with our breath. So as you breathe in, deep breath in, belly drops, heart lifts. And as you breathe out, exhale, chin to chest. Let's do this 3 more times, moving with your own breath. This is a great way to warm up our back, our torso, and just get our spine starting to move a little bit more fluid. And at the end of your next breath, we'll come back into a neutral spine position. We're going to take our right foot back. Taking inhale, point the right toes behind you. Exhale, step that right foot to the top of the mat. Staying on your fingertips or reach for a block. Place it to the inside of that front leg. Easy twist. So from your hands or onto a block, we're going to push down into our foot, into our hand to turn the body open. Slowly moving from your core, from the torso, we're going to gaze towards the right side. Now, option to raise your top hand, raising that right arm up. See how this feels. Continue to lift up through the chest, through the shoulders. Where you feel a stretch is in the left hip flexors. One more breath. Option to take your elbow, bend, and bring that hand towards your low back. See how that feels? And taking one more breath. We'll slowly release, bring the hand down onto the ground. We'll step the right foot back and try to with the other side. So moving your block over to the right, stepping your left foot forward. We're going to plant the foot down, ankle directly underneath the knee, coming up onto your fingertips or using a block to help lift you up. So starting in this low lunge position, we're going to take our hand down to the inside of the front foot. So remember, there's 3 different heights to the block. Adjust the block as needed to get the right height for you, making sure that we're not rounding forward through the spine, we're not collapsing through the back. Hand down onto your block. Inhale, let's lift up through the chest, left arm up to the sky. So we want to twist through the torso, try to lift up through the chest, staying with your breath. Option to take this hand, bend the elbow, place it towards your low back. You can stay exactly where we were, or take the hand back and continue to pull that top shoulder back, opening up through the chest. And at the end of your next breath, we'll slowly release. Take the hand down towards the ground. We'll curl the toe, lift the knee, step that right foot back into a table position. Curl the toe, lift the knee. We're going to send our hips up and back into a downward facing dog. So downward facing dog, we need to make sure that we're distributing the weight evenly between our feet and our hands. So our hands are spread. Index and middle fingers will point forward. We're pressing down actively into the palms as well as into all the knuckles of our fingers. So our knees might be slightly bent here. We haven't really stretched out our hamstrings, so don't worry. Our heels are going to be slightly lifted. We're going to work on pedaling out the feet, so dropping one foot and then lifting it back up. Exhale, dropping the other. Nice and easy. Alternating side to side. Continue to drop the chest down and lifting the sit bones up. We're going to look to the front of the mat, walking the feet forward, draping forward, allowing the chest to drop, sway side to side. Give a generous bend to your knees in our forward fold. And as you sway your body side to side, you'll feel a little bit of a stretch in the backs of the legs. You can also reach the arms behind, interlace the fingers, or grab onto your wrists. So start with our wrists and see how that feels. If there's room, if there's space in the shoulders, we're going to interlace the fingers and release the shoulders away. Release the hands away from the body. And exhale, dropping the chest, dropping the hands, sway side to side. It's a great stretch for getting both into the hamstrings as well as the shoulder joints. So 2-in-1 stretch here. And let's slowly release the hands down. Inhale, look forward, come up halfway. We're going to heel toe the feet to the edges of the mat. Slowly come down into a wide-legged squat. So this pose can be a little bit intense, especially if you have tight hips. So what we're going to do is place a block underneath our hips. So raising the floor up towards us. You can even sit on the block. Allow the feet to be wider than hip distance, heels in, toes pointing out. I'll drop the hands down towards our heart, using your triceps to push slightly against the inner thighs, and the knees are going to hug in towards the center. So there's a little bit of counteraction going on between the leg and the elbows. Sitting up nice and tall. Dropping the sit bones, lifting up through the heart. Hands together in prayer position. Breathing here into the hips, into the groin, adductors, inner thighs. Taking one more breath. And we'll slowly release, come forward. Take the block out from under. And we'll come back to face the top of our mats in a tabletop. And we're going to come back into a seated position. So dropping your hips down onto the ground, we're going to extend the right foot forward. bring the left sole of the foot to the inner thigh. So come into our head to knee pose. So continue with stretching into the backs of the legs, as well as opening up externally the hip with the knee bent. So options to place a block to support that knee. And again, you can turn the block on its side or prop it up to give you a little bit more support. We want the ankles to flex with the toes pointing up, so pulling from the sit bones and kicking out through the heel, giving you a little bit extra tension through the backs of the leg, through the calves, as well as the hamstrings. If you have a strap and you would like to use the strap, go ahead and throw that around the arches of the foot. So we're going to take an inhale to lift the heart. Exhale, start to bowing forwards, drawing the crown of the head forward, chest down. A little bit of tension here. Give yourself a little pull through the hands. So looking for length in the spine. So we never want to compromise the end goal for posture and alignment. So it's very easy for someone to come into a fold with extremely rounded back, whereas you'll get more benefit if you stay up, sitting a little bit taller, but maintaining the integrity and length of your spine. So first looking for length, and then we practice deepening the posture. And let's slowly release. We'll try the other side. So taking your left foot forward, right foot to the inner thigh. And again, see how it feels. You might be the same on both sides. So go ahead and place the block over to the right, or you might not need it. So completely up to you. Give it a try. Throwing the strap around the arches of the foot. Set up for our seated forward fold. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, we start to bow forwards. Lifting up through the heart, nice and tall. Exhale, we bow forward, dropping the head, dropping the chest. And slowly let's inhale to release. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, release the strap, release the props. And we'll come take a seat, preparing for butterfly pose. So this pose, called butterfly pose or diamond pose, brings our feet together. So our toes, the soles of the feet will come together to make a point. Knees will fall out to the side, and our sit bones are firmly rooted on the ground. So a few options. You can place blocks underneath your knees for support on either side, or we can place the block in front and bring our feet on top of the block. And this will just, again, lift the floor up towards us, make it a little bit more easier once we start to come into the forward folding posture. So another thing to make note of is how far your feet are away from your hips. The closer your feet are, the more challenging it is to fold forward. So you're not going to get a lot of depth, not a lot of fold through the hips, but you will feel a much deeper stretch through the inner thighs. The wider your feet are, you'll feel less sensation through the hip crease, but it will allow you to stay in the posture a little bit longer as you have the room and the space to fold forward. So playing with different variations and shapes in your butterfly, we're going to come into a fold. So I'll give you a moment to set up, grab your props, making sure we're nice and comfortable, holding on to your big toes or grabbing for the ankles. We're going to take an inhale, sit up tall. On the exhale, we're going to bow forward, allowing our chest to come forward towards the feet. Elbows can gently press down over the knees, guiding them towards the floor if you like to add a little bit more intensity. Take 3. Elbows can gently guide the knees down towards the floor if you'd like to add a little bit more intensity. Holding onto the toes, bow forward, or you can stretch the hand forward, getting deeper into the back. At the end of your next breath, let's release. Inhale to sit up tall. And exhale, walk your feet down. If you're on a block, removing the blocks off to the side. And let's make our way down onto our backs. So coming down in a supine position, our back is flat. We're going to take our right leg, cross over the left knee, picking up the bottom foot, setting it for reclined pigeon pose. We're going to reach up, thread the hands underneath, grab for the back of the thigh. If you like to use a strap, throw it around, using that to give you a little bit more reach. Try to drop your shoulders, drop your chest, and recline all the way back with a flat back. You can place a block underneath the back of the head, like a little pillow. This can make it a little bit more comfortable, a little bit less strain on the neck and shoulders. So we're going to keep our ankles flexed, especially this top one. We want the ankles to be active so that the toes are flexed and pointing backwards. This is where you're going to feel the stretch in the outer hip. Breathing into your supine or reclined pigeon pose. Great stretch for the low back as well as the hips. And we'll slowly release. Let's try the other side. Taking your left foot, cross it over. So crossing the ankle will reach underneath, using your strap if you need to. Reach for the thighs. And we're going to set up here. Make sure our head isn't lifted. Rest it back onto the floor or onto a block. Allow the top ankle to flex, toes pointing. Gently pull the right knee in towards you. Give yourself a gentle side to side rock. Deep breath all the way down to your sacrum, towards your tailbone. And let's slowly release your grip. Remove the strap off to the side. Gently release your feet. Removing any blocks around your mat. So walk your hips to the right. We're going to drop the knees over towards the left side, stacking the knees together in our supine twist. So this is a really great stretch to wring out the back, wring out the spine. And this pose can be done as part of a practice, or typically we use it for yin practice as well, holding it for a much longer period of time where you can really benefit from the deep twist. Now, option, you can extend this top leg, point the toes. You can hold that leg down, getting into the outer hip, down the sides of the legs. Try to drop that right shoulder down towards the floor. So encouraging that twisting motion through the torso. And if the neck feels okay, we can try turning our head, looking towards the right side, gazing away from the extended leg. Again, deepening that twist. Bring the top part of the body in the opposite direction as the lower part of the body. Slowly head back into center. If your top leg is extended, bend the knee, and we'll bring ourselves back to the middle. This time, shifting your hips over to the left, we'll drop our knees over towards the right. Allowing your knees to stack one on top of each other. Hands can reach out in the opposite direction. Now see how this feels? Take a couple of breaths here just to allow your body to settle. And if there's room to go a little bit deeper or trying a different variation, you can extend this top knee, point the toe out. Use your right hand to hold that foot down in place. Continue to drop this top left shoulder down towards the floor, wringing out the back, wringing out the spine. Gazing towards your left fingertips if that feels good for the body. And we'll slowly release, head back to center. Gently bring the top knee back. Bring the hips to neutral underneath your shoulders. And we'll hug the knees in towards the chest. Thank you so much for joining me, yogis. That was our class. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And remember to click on the subscribe button for weekly yoga videos. Please leave a comment in the section below and let me know anything else you would like to see and work on in the future. Thank you and namaste.